You have mentioned that the script is inspired on real events, real experiences, but also there's fiction. You call it autofiction. How do you blend the two as you were writing this story?
Yeah, well, in the movie appears the mother, the old mother of the character of Antonio character. Um, she said that she doesn't like autofiction, but it's a kind of joke because for these kind of ladies, rural ladies, that she shouldn't know what autofiction is. But so it was a kind of joke. But it's true. I mean, it's impossible to deny it that the movie is inspiring myself, and that I was the reference for Antonio's character. Um, so I mean, there is many sequences are basic in real. I mean, in my real experience, but in every time since the beginning, everything is mixed with fiction. When I say that this movie, because that's true, represents me a lot. I'm above all very intimately. Um, it means that I made mine the memories, not only my memories, the memories of my family, the memories of my brother, the memories of the people that were surrounding me in the 80s, or the people with who I was living in the 60s. So, I mean, for example, one sequence comes from reality. I mean, that when the mother asked him if he remember how she wanted to be dressed para la montaja.
Shrouded.
Yeah. So, I mean, I remember that, but it was my mother didn't ask myself to that question. I mean, she asked it to my sister, because this, I mean, this kind of culture of death, which is very deep and very intense and very colorful too in La Mancha. This is a female tradition, so I made it mine. And also, I was very moved when I was shooting this sequence, but I was stolen the memories of my sister.
Antonio, can you tell us how you tackled this character and how were the conversations between you and Pedro in the creation of Salvador Mayo?
There, there was not just created in a um, unique way. There were many different things that happened during the process of making this movie, the process of rehearsing, and even things that happened even before I read the script. And in reality, I've been saying this, and it's kind of difficult to explain, but I'll try. In reality, I started creating this character 9 years ago, when we did The Skin I Live In. Because for 22 years we didn't work together. I came back to Spain, didn't do too much Spanish movies, practically none in those 2 decades. Um, and I came from Hollywood with my experiences, and I just threw all those experiences on the table and said, this is what I have learned, this is what I am now, this is the voice that I can use, this is that, this is this and that. And this, after a week rehearsing with Pedro, I remember that he said to me, all of those things that you have learned there, they are not very useful for my type of movies. and so, and so I, at that time, I thought, that's not nice. I mean, I'm bringing all of these things to the table. And so I kind of not confronted him because we are friends, and every time, even in moments of tensions that, in creative processes, they always are moments of tension. We always respect ourselves, as friends and stuff like that. But it was a tense shooting. Then I saw the movie in the Toronto Film Festival, and I realized that he managed to take out of me a character that I didn't even know I had inside. And that was a big lesson for me. And when things like that happen, you have to be humble. And so I wanted to work with him again because I wanted to go to him in a completely different disposition. And it happens, 9 years after, he called me and says, I just wrote this thing. You're going to find a lot of references to our life together, to the 80s and a number of things. And I said to him at that point, flat, I said, listen, if there was some medals that I just put on myself, I'm going to take them out. I'm going to be a plain soldier. I want to listen. I want to open my eyes and my ears. I don't want to use the tools that I have been using for many years. I want to start from the scratch. Many things happened in the last 2 years. One of them is that I had a heart attack. It changed slightly the way that I was perceiving reality, I guess, and he saw that because he said that to me at some point during the rehearsal. He said, there is something that has changed in you, and I want you to use it. I knew exactly what he was talking about. When you see the face of death very close to you, there are a lot of things that change in your life, and I saw. My acting also going to a completely different way. And I had this opportunity through this character to express myself differently to anything. The first thing that came to my mind, it was just to metaphorically kill Antonio Banderas. At least the image of the type of characters that I was doing until that point. And it was a perfect opportunity to just step in a completely new universe. Then there were another amount of things that happened. There was a lot of emotional information, which is very difficult to explain, but it's something that you don't count on it when you actually start the process. It just happened. There are certain scenes in the movie that I didn't plan to do like that, but then his emotional information, because he's so attached to this character, to his own story, to reconciliation, to coming to terms with your life and your past. It was so emotional that, in a way, it was giving me that emotional information that was not written anywhere.
Alberto, you mentioned that unlike other filmmakers, Pedro doesn't give you a guide track, and that you have to start from scratch when you start composing. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, good evening. It's an incredible experience to start a movie and having but the voices of the actors. And at that moment is the inspiration for me, how they speak, how they are telling the story, and less by less with Pedro together, we choose for what and why we need the music. And on each film, we have this first question very present. This time I try to convince Pedro that the film doesn't need music because I watched the movie, and for me it was complete, and I didn't know how to do something in that intimacy, how to be there with and make the music so transparent and connected with the meaning. And that was my gut, the connection, not to make an embellishment, to make beautiful music, but to connect with the meaning and with the soul of everything. And I had Pedro beside me each Sunday, coming to home, to my studio, and saying, "Oh, it's okay. Why don't go for this other side?" So we divided the film in different elements, musical elements. One of them is effectively electronic, and probably is the music that explores the dark side of Salvador. I don't know why electronic in some moments can convey reality more than the beauty full of strings and that are more connected with the unreal. And for us it was very important to have this other material in the electronic pulsion, and translated us to his interior.
Thank you.